Welcome to another edition of the Game Plan Show. This is the 43rd edition of the show. I can't believe it's been this long, 43 editions. Thank you very much for sticking and staying with us. We have some very loyal viewers and some of you who join from time to time with your comments and with your suggestions and everything that keeps making the show better and better. My name is Fiifi Anaman, and as always, a jam-packed show. Today I'll be telling you about Asamoah Gyan. Yesterday he signed a deal in Turkey at Kayserispor. I'll be telling you all about the deal, the money involved, and also we'll be looking back on his time in Asia. Asamoah Gyan left Europe. He was at Sunderland. In 2011, he moved to the UAE, and he stayed in Asia for 6 years. 4 of them spent in the UAE, and about 1.5 to 2 spent in China. So 6 years away, he's finally back in Europe. But people are talking about how Kayserispor is actually based in Anatolia, which is basically Asia, and so saying he's back in Europe is a bit dodgy. But anyway, we'll be discussing that as well. We'll also be talking about Ayiah. Is he going to Porto? You remember Ayiah, captain of the Ghana under-17 national team, the Black Starlets. We'll be talking about him into detail later in the show. I'll also be telling you about Richard Commey. He has been rising steadily on the IBF lightweight rankings, world rankings, in fact. I'll be telling you all about that and how he's steadily crawling back to world title status, as it were. We'll also be talking about the Black Stars, who keep slipping on the FIFA rankings. The latest one was released today, Thursday, and the Black Stars, have dropped once again. I'll be giving you all the numbers in there as well. As always, Fiifi Anaman on the Game Plan Show. We are streaming live on Facebook, Pulse Ghana Sports. On Twitter, we are Pulse Sports GH, and on Instagram, we are Pulse Ghana Sports. Catch us anywhere, send in your comment, anything you want, us to acknowledge, we will do it for you. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, where do we start from? Asamoah Gyan, I guess. Yep, Asamoah Gyan. Now, yesterday, he finalized a deal to sign for Kayserispor in Turkey. Remember, he was supposed to move to Bursaspor some weeks back, and their chairman Ayiah came out to say, Asamoah Gyan was making too many demands. They offered him a deal of 1.6 million euros. Asamoah Gyan said, this amount of money is not something I can make do with. Remember, Asamoah Gyan is used to big money. When he was in the UAE, he was earning. I'll be giving you the numbers in a bit. I don't want to give away everything I'll be talking about. But yes, Asamoah Gyan was going to take a pay cut to play at Bursaspor. That didn't happen. Yesterday, news came out that he had signed for Kayserispor in Anatolia. Now, we have the details to this deal. Now, sources close to Pulse Sports tell us that the deal, this is very interesting, the deal is actually worth $1.7 million a year. This means that Asamoah Gyan will be earning roughly $141,000 every week. Now, this is a pay cut from his time at Ayiah or at Ali or even at Shanghai SIPG. But, it's still a lot of money for someone like Asamoah Gyan. He's past 30 and he's been having a lot of injury issues. So for someone of his situation, this, I believe, is a very interesting deal there. Now, let's look back on his time in Asia. Asamoah Gyan was playing at Sunderland. For those of you who remember, at Sunderland in the EPL, he scored 13 goals in that particular season, the 2010-2011 season. And then, at the ripe age of 25, this guy suddenly decided that, I want to go to the UAE, which was where, players who were approaching their twilight used to head to. But Asamoah Gyan changed the whole course of that and arrived in the UAE aged 25 around September 2011. That was. He moved on loan. Ayiah apparently paid Sunderland £6 million to bring Asamoah Gyan into the UAE Pro League. Now, a year later, July 2012, Asamoah Gyan made the deal permanent, and he received a salary of £6 million per season for 5 years. This worked out to about £115,000 every week. Interesting there, Asamoah Gyan earning a lot of money there. And then in 2014, July 2014, he got an improved deal at Ayiah. He was reported to be on $250,000 every week. So he started off like 110, and then he moved on to about 250 at Ayiah. So that was what was happening for Asamoah Gyan at Ayiah. And then I'll tell you a bit about what happened when he moved to China after 4 seasons in Ayiah. Now he moved to China to Shanghai SIPG. Now that move was very interesting because it made Asamoah Gyan one of the highest paid players in the world. He moved in July 2015, and that deal apparently fetched him £227,000 every single week. Now a Forbes list came out in March 2016 that listed Asamoah Gyan as the 8th highest earning footballer in the world. Can you imagine? The Ghana captain was at one point the 8th highest earning footballer in the world on a salary of £227,000 a week. Asamoah Gyan was a rich man then, and you know, he was all over the place, earning a lot of money. But in China, things didn't go on for him. I'm sure you'll be seeing some of his highlights on your screen in a bit. Asamoah Gyan in China, things didn't really go on for him. He scored 7 goals in 20 league games. That was a very, very bad return for someone who was used to scoring over 20 goals per season at Ayiah. And in the Asian Champions League, he actually failed to score in 4 appearances. So he spent 2 half seasons, which amounted to 1 year in China, where he scored only 7 goals in 24 games. So after all that happened, you know, Asamoah Gyan struggling with injuries, struggling to score goals, he even dropped from the rich list of the world's highest earning footballers. And he decided, you know what, I need to go back to the UAE, and he signed for Al Ahly, which in fact are actually the rivals of Al Ain, interestingly. So from Al Ain to Shanghai SIPG in China, then back to the UAE to Al Ahly. Asamoah Gyan signing for their rival. He actually said, in fact, for those of you who followed that saga very well, he said that he wanted to go back to Al Ain, but then the club had already reached their quota for foreign players, and you know there are so many factors that went into that. They also Cosmin Olariol, who is a Romanian coach who is very popular in the UAE, was at that point in time when Asamoah Gyan wanted to return to the UAE at Al Ahly, and so Asamoah Gyan had played under Cosmin at Al Ain, and he decided, you know what, my coach wants me back and I need to go. So he signed for Al Ahly. That was in August 2016 after a purported move to Reading in England failed to materialize. You remember that deal? People were saying Asamoah Gyan failed his medical, and people were saying Asamoah Gyan was washed past his prime and all that. Well, that apparently didn't happen according to Asamoah Gyan's camp. So he decided to go back to Al Ahly, where he spent the whole of last season. So that's what happened with Asamoah Gyan. I'll give you a stat over the 6 years that he spent in the UAE and China. Now in the UAE, Asamoah Gyan was an absolute legend. Now this morning I was just looking through his stats, and I did a lot of research on Asamoah Gyan. I was extremely fascinated by what I found out. Now let's just go through the list whilst the highlights play on your screen. Now in all, in 148 games across all competitions, this was in the UAE, across Al Ain and Al Ahly, 5 seasons, Asamoah Gyan scored 134 goals. Listen to this: 148 games, 134 goals. Now he won 3 league titles, 1 President's Cup, 1 Super Cup, and 1 League Cup, which is called the Arabian Gulf Cup. So he won a lot of titles as well. He was a 3-time top scorer of the UAE Pro League, which is a record in that part of the world. Now he was also at the point he was at Al Ain and Al Ahly named the 7th most prolific striker in the 44-year history of the UAE Pro League. 7th. He spent only 5 seasons, and he scored so many goals that he's in the top 10 all-time highest scorers of the UAE Pro League. That is Asamoah Gyan we are talking about. Now listen to this again. In the 2014 AFC Champions, that's the Asia Champions League, the ACL, the Asian Champions League, Asamoah Gyan was the top scorer with 12 goals in 12 games. Asamoah Gyan, he propelled Al Ain to the semi-final of that tournament. 12 goals it was that he scored, and that made him the highest scorer of that particular 2014 Asian Champions League season. That same year, he was named the Asian Foreign Player of the Year. So I'm still going on with this list. Hang on. I have a few more to go. Asamoah Gyan also broke the single season record for most goals in the UAE Pro League with 31 goals in 22 games. That was in the 2013-2014 season. 31 goals in 22 games. 2013-2014 season. It was the highest amount of goals any striker has scored in the UAE Pro League in over 40 years. And Asamoah Gyan set that record. It was recently broken last season by a guy. I've forgotten his name. I'll check out his name in a bit and give it to you. He scored over 31 goals and broke Asamoah Gyan's record. So his record stood for about 3 years after that. Now, in November 2015, Asamoah Gyan was named number 1 on the 10 greatest overseas players to have graced the UAE. This was a survey, also a piece of work or research done by The National, which is the biggest, well, perhaps the biggest newspaper in the UAE. Now, they named him number 1 on their list of foreign talent to ever play in their country. Asamoah Gyan spent only 5 years in the UAE and he was named number 1 in over their 40-year history of top-flight football. Now, again, he was the 7th all-time top scorer in the Asian Champions League with 20 goals in 29 games. Come on, Asamoah Gyan. First of all, he's 7th on the list of, UAE Pro League's all-time top scorers over 40 years. Now, in the Asian Champions League, which didn't begin, began probably late 90s, early 2000s, Asamoah Gyan is 7th on the list with 20 goals in 29 games. Asamoah Gyan we are talking about. So that's it for his record. And interestingly, we've been talking about goals. Asamoah Gyan has been scoring a lot of goals. Now, since he went to the UAE, his numbers in terms of goals for the Black Stars has actually gone up. Asamoah Gyan became a better striker for the Black Stars because of the time he spent in the UAE. And I'll explain this. You know how anytime you score a goal and you become prolific at it, it becomes second nature. It becomes something that you do effortlessly. Now you gain confidence in the penalty box, in front of goalkeepers, in front of goals, in the final third. And that is what made Asamoah Gyan a killer, lethal striker for the Black Stars. Now, I have stats to prove this. Now, in 52 games since 2011, when Asamoah Gyan moved to the UAE, he has scored 25 goals for the Black Stars. 52 games, 25 goals. That's just in 6 years. Now, prior to that, Asamoah Gyan has scored 26 goals in 53 games in 8 years for the Black Stars. So you can just do the comparison and notice that this move that we all criticized as being, Asamoah Gyan is money hungry. He's lazy. He doesn't want to play in the top flights. He's shying away from the spotlight. It helped the Black Stars, and now he's the all-time leading scorer of the Black Stars with 51 goals in 105 appearances. So that is what the UAE did for Asamoah Gyan. A lot of things to talk about, but I believe I've given you a fair idea of what happened with Asamoah Gyan there in the UAE. Now let me go to Facebook and check out who is commenting on the show, who is watching as well. We are streaming live on Pulse Ghana Sport. I hope you're enjoying the show and the analysis we are doing on the whole Asamoah Gyan Asia situation. Remember, he's moved to Turkey, and that's why we are looking back on his time in Asia. Now, Nene Afedi Manuel, you are watching the show. Thank you very much. You are saying game plan. Thank you for your comment. Eric Menu Neymar, you are saying Neymar live from Dubai. Dubai, that is where Asamoah Gyan recently used to play at Al Ali. So that's it. Edward Teddy Safu, you are saying love him or hate him, Asamoah Gyan is a legend. When healthy, he's a lethal scorer for the national team. And his goal scoring at Al Ain was impeccable during the peak of his prime. Now, Maxwell Alogism, you are saying Gyan is a good player. We love him. Then Afadina Manuel, you are saying Asamoah Gyan, blow. Nene Afedi is an old student of Accra Academy, and Asamoah Gyan is also an old student. So I guess he's very excited at the association with him. Now we talk about Edu Emmanuel. You are saying watching it live in Italy in Arezzo. God bless you, Fiifi. Wish Gyan all the best in his new football season. God bless you too, Edu Emmanuel. Arezzo is actually the home city of a very dear friend of mine. He's called Francesco Carimani. I met him a couple of years ago. So hi to you in Arezzo watching us live. Prince Ofori, Fiifi, you are doing a great job. God bless you. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Prince. Joe Entry Boesiaku, he's not done yet because like what I saw at the stadium in East Hartford. Oh, you were at East Hartford, the Pratt and Whitney Stadium at Rentschler Field for the friendly against the US of A. I'm sure you saw that game. You are saying Asamoah Gyan it's not done yet. Well, we'll take your word for it. You were at the stadium, we weren't there. And so that's that. Edward Teddy Safo, that free kick was world class. That free kick, in fact, I should say, was Asamoah Gyan's 51st goal in 105 caps for the nation. Most cap player, highest scoring player. This is as far as it can go for a legend like Asamoah Gyan. Samuel Lamte, you are saying, good work, Jan. Francis Ekordas, you are saying, I support you, man. Zach Nye, he's always the best in GH. Samuel Lamte, you are saying, DJ Cobra. I don't know what you mean, Samuel Lamte. I'm sure it's your own thing that you are doing there. Stanley Chumberima Edu, you are saying, Asamoah Gyan is my mentor. I love him and I'm going to do better than him. Thanks for the stats. Let's praise him. Thank you very much also for watching and paying attention. Otu Phillips, you're saying, watching you, bros, Fiifi, good work done. Thank you very much. Stanley Chumberima Edu, you're saying, Pulse TV, nice work, bro, Fiifi. Thank you very much, bro, Stanley, for your comments. Ziblim Mohammed, Asamoah Gyan is too much. And Matthew Amoa, you are saying, good job, I'm live in Germany. God bless you. God bless you too for your comments. So that's it. We've been talking about Asamoah Gyan and his record. You know, I was talking about our Ali. Our Ali are actually the rivals of our Ayin. Now, our Ayin and our Ali are, for me, and for many other people, the two biggest clubs in the UAE. Our Ayin have 12 league titles. Our Ali have 7 league titles. Whenever they meet, it is dubbed the UAE Classico. Asamoah Gyan played for both sides. It's like playing at Kotoko and playing at Heart, except Asamoah Gyan only excelled at our Ayin. Didn't do too well at our Ali last season. And no, matches between these two clubs are so tense. One time they played a match and someone threw a mobile phone to an assistant referee and the game had to be called off. Very, very tense rivalry, just like Kotoko and Hearts do it at this side of the world. So that's it for the Asamoah Gyan stats. Let me just go through it for those of you who missed. His UAE stats are very, very impressive. He scored 134 goals in 148 games across all competitions. That was at Al Ain and at Al Ali. He won 3 league titles, a President's Cup and a Super Cup, as well as a League Cup. He was 3-time top goal scorer of their league. He was 7th on their all-time top goal scorers of their league in over 40 years. He was their 2014 Asian Champions League top scorer. He was also their 2014 Asian Foreign Player of the Year. He broke the single season record for most goals in a season. That was 31 goals in 22 games in the 2014 season. He was also, in November 2015, named as the #1 foreign player to have ever graced the UAE. And that was a piece of work done by the national. And he was also 7th all-time top scorer in the Asian Champions League with 20 goals in 29 games. Interesting stat there with Asamoah Gyan. So that's it. Let's move on from our captain. Enough about him. I'm sure you've seen all the highlights we've played on your screen. We'll go for a quick breather on the game plan show and we'll be back in just a second. So we're back on the game plan show. Thanks for joining us. We are streaming live on Facebook on Pulse Ghana Sport. My name is Fiifi, and we've been talking about Asamoah Gyan. And there's this bit I left out of my first presentation, which is that yesterday when he arrived in Kayserispor, or the city of Kayseri, which is in Anatolia, known as Asia Minor or Turkish Asia, whatever you want to call it. You know, Anatolia is actually not really in Europe. You know, it's kind of, it is transcontinental in between Europe and Asia, Eurasia, as people like to call it. So Asamoah Gyan is in Europe at one point and also in Asia, whatever you want to call it. But yesterday he arrived in the city of Kayseri, very, very popular city there, and he was mobbed by fans. We have the video here in a bit. Let's show it to you right now on the game plan show.
Yeah.
I mean, in Ghana, of course, he gets that treatment. But imagine in Turkey, he's never played in Turkey. And look at the kind of reception he got yesterday in the city of Kayseri. I mean, very, very impressive there. Like we've mentioned earlier, Asamoah Gyan has joined Kayserispor. This club, interesting fact about them, they are known as the Anatolian Stars. They finished just above the relegation zone of the Turkish Super League in the last 2 consecutive seasons. So maybe Asamoah Gyan just might be their savior right there. Not a big club in terms of performance over the last few seasons, but you know, they have got the money and they've brought in Asamoah Gyan. Like we said, Paul Sports sources are telling us that the deal is around $1.7 million per season, which works out to around $140,000 every week for Asamoah Gyan. Not a bad deal for him, given his age and his injury situations and whatever is happening in his career. So all the best to you, baby jet Asamoah Gyan, as you progress in your quest to become the very best that you can be. Now let's move on to our next topic, which is on the Black Stars of Ghana. Now just today, FIFA released their monthly rankings, which is done in collaboration with Coca-Cola. It was done today, and the Black Stars, interestingly, fell by a place. We dropped to 50th in the world, and we are now 9th in Africa. The Black Stars are now 50th in the world and 9th in Africa. Last month we were 49th, and we've dropped by a single place. Now this is interesting because we've only played 3 games since then. We played Ethiopia, and Ethiopia in Kumasi. We beat them by 5-0, and then we went on to Houston, Texas at the NRG Stadium, and then we lost to Mexico by 1-0. Then we moved on to East Hartford, Connecticut, and lost that game to the US by 2-1. So 3 games, and the calculations done by the FIFA rankings. It's a long method that they use to calculate. One of these days, the game plan will come up with everything that goes into it. But in the meantime, just know that the Black Stars have dropped a place. Now, interestingly, I'll give you a history of the rankings in relation to our last 2 coaches. Now, Avram Grant and Kwesi Appiah. Now, when Kwesi Appiah first joined the Black Stars in April 2012, Ghana was 2nd in Africa and 22nd in the world. By the time he was leaving the job in September 2014, we were 4th in Africa and 33rd in the world. That was September 2014. Remember that Kwesi Appiah was sacked in the months after the World Cup. So he joined when we were 2nd in Africa, 22nd in the world, and he left when we were 4th in Africa, 33rd in the world. Now let's look at Avram Grant. Avram Grant, everybody's favorite man to hate in Ghana. This guy is so controversial. Even when he's gone, people are still talking about him. Now, when he came in December 2014, Ghana was 5th in Africa and 37th in the world. Fast forward about 3 years later, and Avram Grant left us in 8th place in Africa and 45th in the world. So we actually depreciated by a larger margin than when Kwesi Appiah was first in charge of Ghana. So this is just a bit of history in terms of Coca-Cola FIFA rankings for the Black Stars of Ghana. Quick recap, we've now dropped to 50th in the world. We are 9th in Africa. Last month, we were 49th in the world. So we keep going on a decline, but hopefully Kwesi Appiah has the antidote to arrest that. Remember, he's saying that he's building a team for the future and will be resuming World Cup qualifiers in August of this year. Stay tuned for that. The Black Stars resuming World Cup qualifier. We have a mountainous task ahead of us. We have to outwit the Egyptians, who are currently 5 points ahead of us in that one as well. So that's it for the Black Stars falling and tumbling in the FIFA Coca-Cola ranking. Let me do a few comments from Facebook before I continue the show. We are streaming live on Pulse Ghana Sport. My name is Fiifi Anaman. This is the Game Plan Show. Let's do a break before I do some more comments. So let's go for a quick commercial break. Game Plan Show. It's still Fiifi Anaman here, streaming live on Pulse Ghana Sport. We have some more comments coming in from our various viewers. We have CK Jr. saying, Fee, I'm watching you from Spain, Barcelona. Keep it up. Thank you very much, CK. Chris Hammond, you're saying I wanted a pic with Jan. His bouncer was having none of it, but he actually called me back to take the picture. He's the GOAT. Chris, you're saying you had a personal encounter with Asamoah Gyan. The very, very interesting story, Chris. Thank you very much, Chris Hammond, for your comment. Muntari Young, you're saying Jet is the man of the moment. Let's allow him to enjoy his time. Enough of the critics. Now, Paul Asabri, you're saying, for me, I like Asamoah Gyan. Muftar, Nabila Abdullah, you are watching us. Thanks for joining us. Cosworth Brown, you're saying Black Stars are even lucky to drop just one step downwards. God bless you for the hard work, Fiifi Anaman. Nene Afedi Mano. Thank you very much. God bless you too. Now let's move on to our next topic. Eric Ayiah. Eric Ayiah is the captain of the national under-17 men's team, the Black Stars. They were recently at the Africa Under-17 Championship in Gabon, where they were second. They lost in the final to Mali. Now, Eric Ayiah was actually the second top scorer of that tournament. He scored 4 goals there, and he's received a lot of hype. Captain of the team, very good holder play, excellent finisher, excellent leader as well, and he's received a lot of he's been at the receiving end of a lot of offers we are hearing in the news. And just in the last few days, we've heard that FC Porto are the front runners, and they actually reached an agreement with him. Is this true? Well, according to the player's publicist, this is not true. And I have some comments from the publicist who spoke to the Ghana News Agency earlier. Nana Kwame Minimsa, he's a publicist for Eric Ayiah, the 17-year-old captain of our Black Stars. He said Eric Ayiah has not yet signed for any club. That rumor is untrue, and I do not know the source of it. Now, there are no negotiations or whatsoever with FC Porto, his agent, or his current club, Charity FC, which is at Dakuman Bubuashi, for those of you who want to know, have also refuted the claims. People are making those allegations because Charity FC's relationship with FC Porto is strong with regards to the player transfers, but there's no contact yet. The player is still a minor. We must be careful with his transfer dealing. It is very true that so many European clubs are interested in him, including Manchester City, Bayern Munich, and others. So this meaning, Nana Kwame Minimsa, the publicist of Eric Ayiah, saying Manchester City, Bayern Munich, and others are interested in Eric Ayiah. Of course, they are going to talk up, the hype with regards to players. We heard that Manchester City and PSG are chasing the signature of Emmanuel Toku, who is the other striker of the team who, caught headlines in Gabon. He said, this is Minimsa still speaking, but he is in camp now with the Black Stars who are preparing for the Under-17 World Cup in India. We will deal with his transfer issues after the tournament is over in November. So India is hosting the 2017 edition of the Under-17 World Cup. That will be in November. The Black Stars will be making a return to the World Cup for the first time since South Korea 2007. It's been 10 years, a decade, since we made the World Cup. So that's something for your calendars to mark. India 2017 Under-17 World Cup. Eric Ayiah, of course, is 17 years of age, captain of the Black Stars, top scorer as well. He wears the number 6 shirt, and when asked why he does that, Asamoah Gyan also wears the number 3 shirt. Captain of the Black Stars, captain of the Black Stars, both have very weird taste in shirt numbers. Now, Eric Ayiah said that it's because he was born on March 6th, 2000. That is why he loves the number 6 shirt. So he was born in 2000. Eric Ayiah, I'm sure you can see his picture on your screen right in the bit. He's saying he was born in 2000. Nobody is doubting it. Eric Ayiah is an excellent player, but he was born on Independence Day 2000. That is why he loves the number 6. So number 6 is normally worn by central midfielders, but then this guy is a striker who scores a lot of goals, but with the number 6 the number 6 shirt always on him. So that's it for Eric Ayiah there for the Black Stars. Quick comment on Facebook. Comments check. Who is watching? Who is commenting? You're still on the Game Plan Show. Fiifi Anaman here, episode 43. I'm very, very grateful for all those of you who have been loyal to our show. Let's see who is talking. Muftar, you are still watching. Thank you very much. Vitalis Pagzu, you are always watching the show. Thank you. God bless you. You are saying, Jan really has a lion heart. I am proud of him despite his downfalls. Let's support him and stop the critics. I live in Doha, Qatar. Thank you very much, Vitalis. Victor Abuama, you are saying the prophet is never appreciated in his hometown. Ghanaians talk too much. Interesting from you, Victor. Jan the best, Fatman Saki, you are saying. Stanley Chum Berima Edu. Statistically, I think FIFA is right. Aside all odds, I think it's time Black Stars wake up and take up their duties. As a young footballer playing for a junior side of Liberty Professionals, I feel their performance affects our career both in Ghana and outside Ghana. Black Stars can do it. Let's not stop till we done. So Stanley Chum Berima Edu, you are saying you play for the youth side of Liberty Professionals. I've just read your comment. I just saw your comment saying I have skipped your comment. I just read it easy on the show. Now, Edu Emmanuel, Ghanaians, stop criticizing Jan and help him. Thank you. Nene Ahmed Afedi Emmanuel, I can see your comment. Nana Yao Hene Japan, Jan all the way. Thank you for your comment as well. Now, let's move on to the last topic for today. I'll be telling you about Richard Commey. He ran down to Richard Commey last year in September in a fight in Pennsylvania in the US of A. He fought Robert Easter Jr. for the IBF World Lightweight title. He lost that bout, and then a few months later, he fought Denis Shafikov in Moscow. He lost that one as well. Now, these two losses contributed to him falling so hard on the IBF World Lightweight rankings. He fell so hard. He was number 1. Oh. He was challenging for the title against Robert Easter Jr. And at the end of last year, he fell to 10th place. Now this year, guess what? He's risen up to 6th place again. The latest rankings released for June 2017 shows that he has risen from 8th place to 6th place. So Commey, 30-year-old Ghanaian lightweight boxer, he's doing very well. Gradually crawling his way back to number 1 status. Last year, he got a shot against Robert Easter Jr. and it didn't work out for him. He was supposed to win the IBF World Lightweight title. That didn't work out. So that's it for him. He has a fight record of 25 fights and 2 losses. And I told you about those 2 losses. First one to Robert Easter Jr., September 2016. That was in Pennsylvania, USA. Second fight, Denis Shafikov, Moscow. That was in, I think, December 2016 it was. So only 2 losses in his career all coming last year. Richard Commey, 30 years of age, a native of Bukom. Which Ghanaian boxer isn't the native of Bukom anyway? Richard Commey, very, very talented boxer. We are, we are hoping that he rises to the top once more and gets another shot at a world title. A lot of exciting Ghanaian talent coming through. Yesterday I told you about Duke Micah. I also told you about Isaac Dobwe, and now there's Richard Commey. So that's it for Richard Commey, and just a bit of update on the Agbeko situation. Remember his bout with Nick Otieno last Friday was called off. The GBA have summoned him to come and answer for why the fight didn't come on. He promoted a fight and apparently his opponent didn't even know the fight was happening. So that's the situation with Joseph King Kong Agbeko. I think that's it for the game plan show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. A packed show as usual. Thanks for all of you who join us, the comments, the likes, the shares. I'm very, very grateful for them. A quick shout out to the production team though. Kojo Treneboa has been on live duties, Ejaya on camera, and Isaac Tubua as well on camera. Benjamin Jao, executive producer of our show, Nena Fedi Manuel on graphics. Lobsan is in the studio. I can see you. Thank you very much for your work on the game plan show. And Michael Edusei on social media. So my name is Fiifi Anaman. This has been a game plan show. See you again next week Monday for more sporting action.